The Renacer Act that seeks to address the Ortega regime's dismantling of Nicaragua's democracy and that seeks to support freedom-loving Nicaraguans' democratic aspirations. Frankly, Mr. Speaker, this legislation should have been passed months ago when Congress had an opportunity to stop Ortega's campaign of terror. The world has watched in horror as Nicaragua, under Daniel Ortega's authoritarian rule, has brutally consolidated into one-party dictatorship. Joining the governments in Cuba and Venezuela, Ortega's Nicaragua is now Latin America's third socialist regime. On November the 7th, this coming Sunday, Nicaragua will hold a political farce claiming to resemble elections. Meanwhile, Daniel Ortega holds opposition candidates and over 140 political prisoners unlawfully incarcerated. This includes people like opposition student leader Lester Aleman, a 23-year-old who cannot even walk due to the brutality he's endured while illegally detained, or the husbands of Victoria Cardenas and Berta Vella. They were leading presidential candidates who planned to oppose Ortega in the next election. These brave women, and I admire their courage and advocacy for all of Nicaragua's unjustly detained. I'm a lead co-sponsor of this bill, and I'm grateful for the leadership of Congresswoman Maria Salazar and to Chairman of the Western Hemisphere Subcommittee, Albio Ceres, for his advocacy of the plight of Nicaragua's political prisoners, and I greatly appreciate his friendship and his leadership. This bipartisan bill will require targeted sanctions against corrupt regime officials who have dismantled Nicaragua's democracy and undermined these elections. It will also ensure the United States is coordinating targeted sanctions with our Canadian and European Union allies. This legislation also expands oversight to ensure international financing institutions are not enriching the corrupt regime while making sure there are humanitarian exceptions. It requires a classified report on Russia's nefarious activities in Nicaragua, whose intelligence and security cooperation has dramatically expanded. The United States must condemn the electoral charade taking place on Sunday and urge our international partners to join us. America must continue to be the beacon of freedom and stand against authoritarian socialist leaders. We must hold the Ortega regime accountable for its atrocious and destabilizing behavior. We only need to look at Venezuela to see the consequences of ignoring rising socialist authoritarianism. More can and should be done, and a positive first step is passing this legislation. I'm proud to join my colleagues in this effort. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I reserve the balance of